Okay, I'm going to have a go at the Wilton baby bullet vice build. Well, the lighting here isn't very good for my camera, but I'll start with the base plate. I've got the drawing from Oxtoolco's blog. I've scribed a 3 1/4 inch circle there on a bit of 1/2 inch plate. I'll just see if I can plasma cut around it fairly accurately for a start. Okay, I've cleaned the mill scale off and just remarked it there, just in case it upsets the plasma cutter. I don't have a steady hand, so I've bent a piece of brake pipe around a coffee cup, and that's giving me a guide where I can get the plasma cutter about 1/4 of the way round, hopefully fairly neatly. So let's just see how it goes. Okay, that's going well. It's a really good tip with plasma cutters. If you're like me, if you don't have a really steady hand, just form something soft to the shape you want, or near enough the shape you want, and use it as a guide. It'll save you a lot of grinding and machining later in the process. You see a lot of people freehanding with plasma cutters. Some people can do it, who've been doing it for years. I struggle, so that's my method for this. Okay, I've got around there. I think I'm reasonably happy. I made a 3 1/4 inch mark, and I'm aiming for 3.063 diameter, so I've given myself maybe 80 thou round. I hope when I ground it and machined it I'll be able to clean it up at the finished size. See what it looks like. Okay, I've punched it out there. There was just some dross holding it in, and I've just got away with it. You can see there I've rescribed the final finished diameter on there, so I've just got room for a little grinding and machining, get rid of that heat affected zone. I hope, if I've held the torch reasonably steady close to the vertical, the finish is not too bad, considering, as I said, I don't have a steady hand. It's a 1/2 inch plate. It's about on the limit of what this Hypertherm powermax 30 will do. This is a very, very good plasma cutter. If you're thinking of Mr. powermax 30, if you're thinking ever of investing a bit of money in a plasma cutter, seriously consider Hypertherm. I've had some imported plasma cutters, shall we say, and they are not a patch on these machines. As I say, the maximum the little 30 can cope with is about this, about 1/2 inch plate. You have to go slow and carefully, and the fan runs a little bit, but I haven't had it cut out on duty cycle yet, so I'm really pleased with it. Okay, I've set up, and I just popped the live centre into the punch mark there to set the forge, or because the OD is unmachined and not critical. I didn't have much grip on it in the jaws, so I just left the centre in there while I was turning the OD. But the pressure on it didn't change, so there's been no movement, so it got away with that. But just leave that centre in as a precaution. I don't want it to come out the chuck. I'm sure it won't. There's more than there looks there. There's about 1/8 of an inch to grip on. So just got another 20 thou to take off, and I'll face it, and I think I'll drill the 1/4 hole in the middle. Okay, I've faced it, and I've set my compound slide round at 75 degrees and turned the little taper on it. It's got a taper, a 75-degree angle on it. Depth is 0.313, which I've just got there. I just kept turning the taper until it went down to 0.313. Now a slightly unorthodox way of scribing 2 marks across it using the jaws of the chuck just for reference. Put my centre height finder in there, put it in neutral, just run it up to there like that, scribe a line across, and the same thing again at 90 degrees. It's a little bit unorthodox, but it's just run the tool across. I know the tip of the tool is on centre height, so it actually makes a 90 degree cross through centre, which is quite handy on this. It's not the top face is going to be machined again and welded, but it'll give me a reference for my 2 bolt holes that I'm going to mark and drill now. I don't have a vertical mill, just a drill press, so get some marks on there while it's in the lathe and get the centre hole in while it's in the lathe, and I'll measure and drill the other 2 holes. Okay, there is a little bit of method in my madness putting that centre hole in first. Just easier in the lathe. No, I want these to be these 2 holes here to be 1.1/8 apart. So if I set them, I've got a 1/4 hole in the middle. If I set my calipers to 1.25, and just make a mark there, and then do a quick check for gross errors. That's 2.25 between the marks. I'll dot punch that and drill it. Now that's maybe a slightly unorthodox method there, but I'm using what I've got to try and do a reasonably accurate job. It's good enough for this. It'll be fine. I did make the bozo schoolboy error of taking out the chuck before I put that radius on and polished it, but I just popped that with a centre hole. I just popped the centre in there and pressed it against the jaws of the chuck, and it ran nice and true. You can't do any machining on it, but I did just stroke the radius with the file and polish it with some paper to get rid of any marks that I don't want, so that's looking a bit better. The rear face won't be machined until after the welding is done, in case it distorts. We want to end up with a flat bottom. So that's as far as I'm going to go for today. Not quite the way Tom Lipton is doing it, not quite as precise. I don't have his facilities or his skills or anything else, but if you want to do it with a plasma cutter to make your shape, I'd say don't go any less than 3.25 when you mark it. That will give you room, if you're reasonably accurate with your plasma cutter, to grind your hard spots out and then machine down to the final 3.063 inches, and then put your taper on. Even if you had a spot that didn't quite clean up, the taper would probably take it out. So that is as far as I'm going to go for today. There it is. I'm not ecstatic about the finish, but that's the way it goes sometimes with soft materials. All the nasty marks you can see will actually be covered up when the radius is cut out the centre and the welding's done and the tabs are on, so it'll be okay.